2.0. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for future updates and alert. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, everybody. I brought a very special guest with me today, as you can see, Secretary McMahon. So I will begin my remarks. She's going to speak, and then we'll take some questions. She'll take questions, and I'll take questions from you as well. First off, yesterday, First Lady Melania Trump and Second Lady Usha Vance traveled to Marine Corps Air Station New River in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, where they spent the day meeting with students, educators, military families, and United States Marines. Both the First Lady and Second Lady were grateful for the warm welcome and remain deeply committed to supporting military families and the communities that serve our great nation. May God bless all of them. In economic news, the September jobs report showed the American economy remains strong, with 119,000 new jobs added, more than double expectations. These gains came after the summer passage of President Trump's historic tax cuts and multiple big trade deals with countries around the world. In particular, construction jobs surged by 19,000 in September, the largest monthly gain in a year. Nearly all of this solid monthly job growth came from the private sector and went to Americans rather than foreign-born workers, the opposite of what we saw under the previous administration. Inflation also remains under control, and wages are up by 3.8% over the year for American workers because of President Trump's pro-growth policies. In fact, real wages are on pace to increase roughly $1,200 for the average worker this year under President Trump. This is a complete reversal of the failed Biden era, when we saw inflation skyrocket to 9%. Causing private sector workers to see their wages decline by approximately $3,000. We know that Americans are still hurting from the 4-decade high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats, but President Trump is making significant progress to fix this, and he will not stop working in table. Nearly 100 million Americans are expected to drive next week and spend time with loved ones for the holiday. And thanks to President Trump's drill baby drill agenda, the national average price of a gallon of gas on Thanksgiving Day is projected to be at the cheapest price since the COVID pandemic in 2021. President Trump is bringing down gas prices and providing significant savings to American families at the pump. And again, we expect those prices to continue to decline. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey, cooking Thanksgiving dinner will also cost less this year than it did last year and is down about 5% overall. The average price for a staple of the meal, a 16-pound frozen turkey, is down more than 16% from last year, which will provide critical savings for families and their budgets. President Trump's entire economic agenda is aimed at putting more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. That's why he signed the largest middle tax cuts in history into law, from no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, to no tax on Social Security. And according to a new study from Piper Sandler, which is out this week, tax filers can expect an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year in what could be a record-breaking tax refund season. So there is more good news to come. We know these refunds will make a huge difference for Americans to help pay down their bills and use towards life's expenses. In other news this week, President Trump took a significant step toward delivering on a core campaign promise to finally close the Department of Education. To shrink the bloated federal bureaucracy, the Department of Education just entered into new interagency agreements with 4 agencies: the Departments of Labor, Interior, Health and Human Services, and State. These agencies will now ensure the delivery of legally required programs while also refocusing them to better serve students. This common sense action brings the Trump administration much closer to finally returning education where it belongs, at the state and local level, not in Washington, D.C. The Democrats' reckless 43-day government shutdown did manage to do one valuable thing. It proved that America does not need a federal Department of Education. During the longest shutdown in history, the Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff, and America's education system was not impacted whatsoever. Schools stayed fully open across the country. Students attended class and received normal in-person instruction, and our wonderful teachers received their paychecks uninterrupted. The Democrats' government shutdown made it painfully obvious that American families do not need the Department of Education. Since its creation in 1979 during the Carter administration, the Department of Ed has spent over $3 trillion taxpayer dollars without improving student achievement. Despite peer pupil spending having increased by more than 245% since the 1970s, math and reading scores are down in public schools. In fact, the most recent Nation's Report Card from 2024 showed that 13-year-olds' math scores are the lowest they've been in decades, and their reading scores are the lowest since testing began more than 30 years ago. It's clear that throwing more money at a broken system does not work, and that's why President Trump appointed the amazing leader behind me, our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who is making these monumental changes at the direction of the president. We're very grateful to have you here today to talk about these changes and then take some questions. Hopefully folks in this room will have some questions on the very important topic of education. So please, Mrs. Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Karoline. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today, and thank all of you for being here as well. My purpose here is to speak directly to the American families, not just you, but to the American families, about the work this administration is doing in education to reverse our national decline with a hard reset of our educational system. That reset was a top campaign promise from President Trump to send education back to the states and end Washington's micromanagement of education once and for all. This week we took the most decisive steps thus far to make good on this promise to you. We have linked 6 groundbreaking partnerships with other federal agencies to delegate education department programs that are redundant with existing programs at Labor, State, Interior, and HHS. These interagency agreements to cut our own bureaucratic bloat are a key step in our efforts to shift educational authority from Washington, D.C. to your state education agency, your local superintendent, your local school board, entities that are accountable to you, and we encourage parents to always be involved. Cutting federal bureaucracy is never a popular move among D.C. insiders. A chorus of anti-Trump voices have come out of the woodwork to complain that we are defunding education, harming students, or acting without a plan. This could not be further from the truth. The majority of Americans across the country handed President Trump the popular vote precisely because they have seen the brokenness of a top-down education system run by the federal government. They're painfully aware that only 3 out of 10 students can read proficiently at their grade level. They know that college students are collectively $1.7 trillion in debt, and less than half of college graduates get a job that actually uses the degree which they studied so hard to get. They see more teachers than ever before leaving the profession due to burnout, over-regulation, and lack of autonomy in the classroom. Anti-Trump voices are stirring up fear that returning education to the states is a draconian action. When Americans hear that we are shutting down the department, but given no other details, 51% oppose it. But when those same Americans are informed of our plans to preserve important elements of our work in other federal agencies and to maintain the K-12 funding that is distributed to the states, that number flips to an even greater majority at 56%. They support returning education to the states and breaking up the bureaucracy. That's because the Department of Education is a pass-through entity. It doesn't educate a single student. The money it sends to states for education can be sent directly without waste. The Democrats' government shutdown proved that without a doubt, now I'll reiterate what you said, that the Department of Education was not necessary during the shutdown. Now, this is what I've seen already on my 50-state tour that I've embarked on. Educators are innovating in their schools. States are customizing their budgets and standards, and post-secondary institutions are planning for the economy of the future. We're not leading them, they are informing us. That's why our final mission as a department is to fully empower states to carry the torch of our educational renaissance. Education is local. It should be overseen locally by those who best know local needs. We're not ending federal support for education. We are ending federal micromanagement and paving the way for education renewal through state reforms like school choice, the science of reading, and restoring the right priorities in higher education. President Trump promised to send education back to the states, and we're keeping that promise. America's next generation will look back on the work we've carried out, thankful for an education system that prioritizes students over bureaucracy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Secretary, and we'll take some questions for the Secretary if you have them. Elizabeth, why don't you start?
Thank you for joining us. You announced the partnership to move some functions of the Education Department to other agencies. Are you talking to members of Congress about codifying this so that it lasts beyond the administration?
Yes, we started our conversation, and thanks very much for asking that, because there have been some reports that Congress is in the dark on this. That's clearly not true. We've been I've talked to dozens of members of Congress to explain to them exactly what we're doing, to bring them up to speed, and to say to them, look, when we have completed some of these transfers that are working incredibly well, then we will be looking to Congress to codify those, make them permanent.
Brian.
Thank you. Secretary McMahon, what is the update on the negotiations with Harvard? I know the president has publicly pointed to you as somebody who's worked on that. I think you've talked about that at length, but I'd like to understand, where are things with those negotiations with Harvard this time?
There are ongoing negotiations, and I feel very comfortable that we are getting close to having those negotiations finalized. It's been an open door conversation all along.
Deanna.
Hello, Mr. Secretary. The President recently posted about establishing a federal standard for AI. Do you know if the administration has a view on the use of AI for students in schools? And Karoline, do you know if the President personally uses AI?
I don't think so.
We can
I've
handle
never
that.
witnessed it, so I can't attest to that.
Well, I do think AI is going to need guardrails, but I have witnessed AI firsthand. I was at the Alpha School in Austin, Texas, and the first 2 hours of every day in that school, students are learning through AI. They have their headsets on, they're in front of their screens, and the AI is really acting as like an individual tutor for those students, allowing those students that can progress faster to do that. Those who need a little catch up, it refeeds information to them. And so after those 2 hours of learning, the basics of what they're doing in their curriculum that day, then they spend the rest of the day, they have good recess and all of that time, then they spend the rest of the day in what are called life skills, and they're actually using the information that they've learned this morning. So I've seen some AI in action that is really proving quite beneficial.
Michael.
Thank you, Karoline. Secretary McMahon, as the Education Department continues to pare down, can you talk about taxpayer services like charter school grants and how the department will continue to assist kids with special needs?
Well, we are going to make sure that there's no interruption in getting that grant money out the door. That money is, it comes from Congress, it's appropriated by Congress, and we legally are obligated to do that. And the transitions we're starting to make, our first programs that went over to the Department of Labor, that was a few weeks ago. We actually signed the first interagency agreement, which we accomplished under the authority of the Economy Act. we transferred grants for WIOA and for the Perkins Act. And the really good news is that the Department of Labor has a much more sophisticated system, technology system and grant fulfilling system than the Department of Education does. As a matter of fact, our executive manager that went over with that group over to labor said he would compare what the labor system is to education's like held together by bubble gum that is not connected to any other part. So we were able to get those grants out the door more smoothly, and states have actually better access for those systems than they do at the Department of Education. So that's a real bonus.
Take a couple more. Carrie, go ahead.
As far as the diversity, equity, and inclusion new regulations that came out from the administrations, a lot of schools, whether high school or even higher education is concerned, some of them are defying these new administration policies, even apparently according to a new report.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you,
As
Rick.
far as there's been a new report from the administration saying that half of medical schools are defying the administration when it comes to DEI policies. What type of action will the administration take for these schools that are defying new DEI policies?
Well, certainly the president has been very clear, and the Department of Education has taken measures to make sure that as schools are developing, their policies, or if they have open DEI offices, they're closed, or DEI regulations and rules are stripped, from their programs, and so that will continue.
We'll take one more. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, my question is, since you said 3 out of 10 students are literate with regard to their reading capacity, would now the states help to improve those numbers since you have gone back to the states?
Well, what we are finding, that the states that are making great progress, it's through their own innovation. It's not coming from the Department of Education. I think, the Department of Education is really misunderstood about what our function is. We don't teach one student. We have nothing to do with the curriculum that are in any states. We are a pass-through pathway from money that's appropriated by Congress to get, to the states. But what we have seen in those states that have taken that initiative, and they are embracing the science of reading and returning that into their school programs. Louisiana has done it. Mississippi, they call it the Mississippi Miracle, because they were like, I think, bottom or next to last in reading proficiency in Mississippi, and now they're like middle of the pack, which has been a really big jump. Florida has, Iowa has, Tennessee. So, but these are innovations that are done at the state level. This is not anything we're dictating, and that's why I'm saying returning education to the states where they really are already leading in their education endeavors, and 90% of their budget they provide. The federal government only provides 8 to 10% of the budget for education, so let's make sure that that grant money that's coming from the federal government is getting in their hands as efficiently as possible and getting to students. We don't want teachers having to spend their time and money in regulatory compliance. There was one superintendent chief who said to me that they had done some calculation in their state, and that for every dollar that went into the classroom in a grant, 47 cents was spent in regulatory compliance. So let's get the money into the hands of our students and our teachers. Let's raise the level of education. The other thing I'll do, and I'll quickly wrap up for you, is this 50-state tour that I have embarked on. We've done about 14 states. We've shut down a little bit during the shutdown. But what I am doing is visiting different kinds of schools, grammar schools, middle schools, high schools, micro schools, private schools, charter schools, the whole gambit. And in the end, my goal will be, as we step away and fully deliver education back to the states, is to provide them with a best practices toolkit of all of the things that I have seen around the country to say, hey, this is working. Check with these superintendents, check with these governors. And what I found a little bit is governors are a little competitive. So it's kind of nice to give some of these best practices out there. It'll work because it's already working. If we leave it with the people who are closest to the students, the president believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child, and parents' involvement is critical to the success.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Linda.
It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. I appreciate your comment
All right.
today. Thanks for your great work. And
Thank
she's
you all very much.
a busy lady, so we'll let her get back to work. All right. Thank you again. Well, let's get to it. You guys were so calm with her. I wish you were that calm with me. We'll kick off with our new media seat as always. Javier, why don't you start us off and then we'll get to the rest of the room. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Javier Negre. I'm from Spain. I'm the owner of the biggest media platform in Hispanic politics, with plans like La Derecha Diario, Ida TV, or UH Plus, or Vicegratin in Spanish. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for supporting the new media, also in the Hispanic community. We try to fight against media like Telemundo, Univision, CNN, or NBC News that are spreading fake news and attacking the ICE operations. We will premiere this Sunday the Real America's Voice, the radio show, the first Spanish show against communism and woke culture that is promoted by people like George Soros, bring communism all over the world, like happened in New York. I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. In Mexico, the young people is protesting against President Sheinbaum. They think she's doing nothing against the cartels. Sheinbaum used the police to attack them, young people, kids, girls, and she's attacking journalists like me in a country where 150 journalists have been killed in the past years. The USA legacy media is attacking President Trump for his comments about the fake news media, while they are not publishing anything about the murders of journalists in Mexico. Why do you think they stay silent about the murders of journalists in Mexico and the attacks to businessmen like Ricardo Salinas? And my second question is, Trump said he has a plan for the narco state of Venezuela. Does he have a plan for Mexico where, according to Stephen Miller, the cartels are controlling governments and territories?
Sure. Well, thank you, Javier, for the question, and thank you again for being here. We're proud to have new media voices in the briefing room. As for President Sheinbaum and the president's relationship with Mexico, I will tell you that we have seen historic strides from President Sheinbaum and her administration in Mexico when it comes to cracking down on the cartels. They have been incredibly cooperative with the president's efforts at our southern border to crack down on illegal immigration and also the illegal trafficking of drugs at the southern border. Now the president is very interested in taking additional measures against the drug cartels. He's been very clear about that. He's spoken about it, and this is a promise that he made to the American public. And so his national security team is discussing these options all of the time. And on the campaign trail, the president promised to take on the cartels. He has taken unprecedented action to do so, and he has left additional options at his disposal on the table. So those are only decisions that the president can make.
What about the silence of the legacy media about the murders of journalists in Mexico? 150 journalists have been killed in the past years.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something I wish the media would report on more, and it's something that this administration absolutely condemns. I can't speak for the media, but I can speak for the president. That's not something he wants to see. Thank you. Sure.
Hi, thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House, because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself. Nancy.
Thanks, Caroline. This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution are essentially encouraging. We have 1.3 active duty service members in this country. And if they hear this radical message from sitting members of Congress, that could inspire chaos, and it could incite violence, and it certainly could disrupt the chain of command. These 3 members of Congress, I will also add, knew exactly what they were doing. You look at Alyssa Slotkin, she's a former member of the CIA. Mark Kelly was a captain in the U.S. Navy. Maggie Goodlander was a naval officer, and notably, she is also the wife of Joe Biden's national security former advisor, Jake Sullivan. And so these members knew what they were doing. They were leading into their credentials as former members of our military, as veterans, as former members of the national security apparatus to signal to people serving under this commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, that you can defy him and you can betray your oath of office. That is a very, very dangerous message, and it perhaps is punishable by law. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that to the Department of Justice and the Department of War to decide.
But the president has
Chris,
frequently, but Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders. Every single
an illegal order, which
but
is
they're suggesting
they
Nancy,
fighting.
that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do. And they should be held accountable, and that's what the president wants to see. Phil.
Thank you. Ambassador Mike Huckabee had a meeting with Jonathan Pollard, a former U.S. citizen who was convicted and spent 3 decades in jail for selling state secrets to Israel. Did the White House know that that meeting was going to happen? Does the administration condone it?
The White House was not aware of that meeting, but the president stands by our ambassador, Mike Huckabee, and all that he's doing for the United States and Israel.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red states. I'm curious if there's any chance in tomorrow's meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani that he will be able to convince the president to abandon that promise to cut off federal funding to New York City.
Look, Phil, we'll see how the meeting goes tomorrow, and I'll let the president speak for himself. Natalie.
Thank you, Caroline. What did the president mean when he called reporters baby?
Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves. And I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And he calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him and his administration. But he also is the most transparent president in history. And he gives all of you in this room, as you all know, unprecedented access. You are in the Oval Office almost every day asking the president questions. And so I think the president being frank and open and honest to your faces, rather than hiding behind your backs, is frankly a lot more respectful than what you saw in the last administration, where you had a president who lied to your face and then didn't speak to you for weeks and hid upstairs and didn't take your questions. So I think everyone in this room should appreciate the frankness and the openness that you get from President Trump on a near daily basis.
And
Go ahead.
let's follow up.
Yes.
The Washington Post just reported that the Coast Guard has.
I'm calling on Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Caroline, thank you. 2 questions for you. The New York Times is reporting that the administration is now sending a U.S. official to the G20. They are sending Marshall Dillard. Can you confirm if that is true, and then also explain the shift in?
I'd be happy to explain, because there is not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
On Ukraine, there have been reports that President Zelensky said, he's looking to look at the plan. There's been reports about the Trump administration proposing a plan. Can you just give an update on where Russia-Ukraine stands, and does the president plan to speak with Zelensky anytime soon, or when to expect that?
So I'm happy to provide an update. I've seen quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia-Ukraine, so let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He's grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So they have been engaged with both sides. And these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done. And I'll also add, I know Secretary Driscoll did meet with President Zelensky today. We spoke with him. He was very optimistic following that meeting, and so again, we are having good conversations with both sides with respect to ending this war. Sure. Go ahead.
On Ukraine, you said this is a good plan. So according to our sources, this proposal demands major concessions from Ukraine and doesn't demand much from Russia. So was Russia involved in drafting
Your
this?
understanding is wrong. Have you read the full plan? You haven't.
Sources say.
Yes.
So if you can give details,
You've read reporting from one side of the war, and so I want you to understand that the administration has talked equally with both sides. You have seen President Trump engage directly with both President Putin and President Zelensky. Likewise, his national security team has as well. In fact, Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio met with some of the Ukrainians just in the past week to discuss this very plan. And so just like you saw with respect to Israel and Gaza, we are hearing out both sides of this war to understand what can you commit to end the war. And that's ultimately how we are going to get to an agreeable solution. That's what the president has directed of his team. I know there's a lot of criticism out there and a lot of doubters, but I would just remind you of the historic success that this president and his team accomplished in the Middle East. We believe that is possible with Russia and Ukraine, and we're hoping and working very hard to achieve that. Stephen.
Could you provide a little more context on what to expect tomorrow with the Mamdani meeting? Will it be in the Oval Office, or is it going to be open at least partially to the press?
I don't have any more details to read out for you on the meeting quite yet, Stephen. I know it's of great interest to you in the New York Post, but we'll keep, maybe if it opens, we can commit to letting you in. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. It came up yesterday during a confirmation hearing for the president's pick to lead the CFTC that the CFTC currently has 0 Democrat commissioners, whereas usually it's had 2 or more. Does the president plan to appoint Democrats to financial regulators like the CFTC and SEC, or does the president feel that there shouldn't be Democrat leadership at those agencies, consistent with the administration's move earlier this year to remove Democrats from the FTC and other agencies?
I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't spoken to the president about the CFTC in quite some time, but I'm happy to check in with our presidential personnel office and see if there's any updates that we can provide you there. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Last week on Fox News, President Trump said that we've had a lot of problems with the French. How would you describe the current relationship between France and the US?
Look, the relationship remains very strong. President Trump speaks quite frequently with Emmanuel Macron. I think they have a good working relationship. But the president is not shy to point out when he has disagreements with world leaders as well. And he's done that with respect to Mr. Macron as well. Deanna, go ahead.
Caroline, there are reports that Qatar is acting as a mediator in the Ukraine peace process. Can you confirm that, and why did the president choose that country?
I'm not going to get into further details other than what I previously shared, which I think was quite a bit of information. Brian?
Thank you, Carolyn. Two questions. You were talking about earlier in this briefing about the president's orders. You were going back and forth about what the ad said, what can say. My first question is
the ad,
the advertisement with the Senate Democrats were featured in. So the first question is, no matter what the order is, it could be to any administration official, military or otherwise, no matter if legal experts might think it's illegal, does the president expect those cabinet members, administrative officials to go ahead with those orders regardless of any outside thinking or experts?
The president expects his cabinet officials in the administration to follow the law and to demand accountability and hold people accountable for their dangerous rhetoric. And I would just add that if this were Republican members of Congress who were encouraging members of the military and members of our United States government to defy orders from the president and from the chain of command, this entire room would be up in arms. But instead, it is the other way around, and I think that's quite telling. I'm going to let you all go because the president, excuse me,
Wow.
I appreciate the encouragement this morning, but this afternoon, but President Trump is about to meet in minutes with Israeli hostages who this administration freed, and so I'm going to go up to that meeting, and you will hear more about that later. Thank you.
Democrats in that video. That's actually not what they said.
Oh, wow. They are ticked off about this meeting. They were really getting up. So this is the first time I heard so much pushback from the media room targeting Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. This is like crazy. But I thought it was extremely brazen of her that she said President Trump is, what she said, President Trump is allowing this communist, call Madani a communist to come to the White House. I'm like, so that meeting's gonna be on fire. I mean, that's, she's speaking for the President of the United States, and she's saying that because Trump, Madani, I don't believe even meeting with Trump is going to stop Trump from making sure that New York isn't destroyed by whatever policies he's trying to implement. Trump is not having it. His home is New York. So he is not going to let them tear it down. So it's going to be incredible, the meeting. I hope they had that meeting broadcast between them because Trump is not playing with him. I don't believe he ever has met Madani, but that's the first time I heard Trump call him, not Trump came out of his mouth, but it came out of Secretary Leavitt's mouth. They called him a freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, that was wow.
This is crazy. Always black people. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
With AI,
you can create any character you want. It is insanity. What do you guys think about Trump secretary referring to Madani as a communist? What do you guys think about that? Like, Trump is not, I want to hear from Trump. That's from her. But it looked like he's not holding back on it. This is crazy. That's going to be a fiery meeting. Trump is, remember the Zelensky meeting with Trump when he first met with Zelensky and they were going at it and Trump was like, hold up. Hold up. Who are you?
This kind of, even hearing what she says kind of shows Trump's opinion on a lot.
Yeah, well,
now we know he views Madani probably as a communist.
Well, he does.
Yeah.
That's why she wouldn't have said it
Exactly.
if he didn't allow her to.
Yeah,
She would not have said that and called him that. There's no way. There's no way. This is what, there's no way. But I know one thing, we are going to be showing it. We're going to be, be reporting on it. I know it's just going to circulate worldwide because that's a worldwide issue. You have a Muslim elected official as the mayor of New York City, the largest city in this nation, and you have in Dearborn, Michigan, you have another Muslim leader, mayor, and they just were protesting there. They were getting violent. It was like they spray painted what's his name, Higby, and they're going at it. And I think they were from Turning Point USA, and they were saying, "We don't want you coming into our country, taking over." Or whatever. And the mayor was saying, "I don't want you in my city." He was telling the Americans, "I don't want you in my city. And when you leave, I'm going to throw a parade."
Yeah, and this is kind of like, for Madani, like a privilege. How many mayor gets to meet the president of the United States?
Usually mayors don't be meeting, will have a personal meeting, but it's that serious. But I think that they were looking at Dearborn. So if they feel that way about Dearborn, Michigan is like more of a Muslim city. What are they going to feel about New York with Madani and all the things Madani promised the people? At the end of the day, he's not going to be able to deliver because the billionaires are going to leave.
Someone said,
what?
They said, Carmen Cat said, the importance of education. So I guess that's them trying to call us out. They said he is not a communist. He is a socialist, different from night and day.
Yeah, at first they were calling him a socialist, but she literally said communist. Yeah. So those words are more, I guess, call him a communist. Like they already say him.
What you reply to that person saying to us?
What?
They're saying like education's important.
I don't know. What are you talking about? We didn't call him that. That's what she referred to him as. We're repeating. Yeah. We're repeating what she said. If you were listening to the broadcast, you would have heard that Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, and we were asking a question. She called Madani a communist. That's what she said. We know that he's labeled as a socialist. So, but
I'll say I'm not a fan of him.
Well, anyway, Trump's going to handle it. He's going to handle him because Trump is not happy with the election. He was complaining about the election the whole time they were running. He knew that this man was going to win. He couldn't believe that New Yorkers would vote him to the office, but he used the United States' favorite words, free. When he said free bus fare, freeze on rents.
But how long has he been an American
citizen? He's been only American, but he's been an American citizen. I think he got his certificate of naturalization 7 years ago. So you have him running. He's going to be running once he's sworn in, because he's not sworn in yet, as the mayor of New York. And he's only been here 7 years. So he doesn't know our culture. He doesn't know what's important to Americans because he's not even from here. He's looking at where he comes from. And so a lot of times people think that when people come from another country, that they say, oh, you're in America. They don't become American like that. Even if they get their certificate of naturalization, they're bringing what they left with them. Whatever the beliefs were, whatever the situations were, wherever it was a communist country, they're going to have the communist viewpoints. Whatever was going on, they're bringing it with them. 7 years is not enough time to know what Americans believe in and what we stand for. It's not long enough to be running the largest city in the freaking probably world, but in the United States.
What are we supposed to say? Trump is president, so that means that's his job to handle things in this country. Someone got upset. We said that Trump's gonna handle.
Trump has already shown that he's discontent with him. If you've been keeping up with any political news, anything that have to do with New York, anything about the mayor's race in New York against Madani and what was his name, Cuomo and Eric Adams and Silva ran as a Republicans, you would see that he was leading the whole time. Cuomo already had gotten wiped out during the primary, and then he decided to run as an independent, and then Adams dropped out to help him win, which didn't help because Silva needed to drop out because he knew he wasn't going to win. But anyway, they knew he was going to get elected, and Trump was complaining the whole time. But he believes in taxing the billionaires to pay for, I guess, all the free stuff that he wants to give the citizens in New York. But the billionaires, they not stuck there. They could buy islands. They got jets, yachts. They could live anywhere in the world. So they're leaving. So all that money that he thought he was going to get from the filthy rich, they like they not stuck. Like if you're an average citizen, maybe you can't move, but they're not stuck. They're going to move. They're not going to expand. They're going to move their companies. They're running to Florida. I guess because DeSantis is there.
They're gonna change countries.
They can live in other countries, so they're not stuck. So he's relying on that. Then he said freeze the rent, and then he wants to have government run grocery stores. I don't know what's going to happen to the mom and pop stores or whatever.
Free bus rides.
And free bus rides, but he doesn't. He's mayor is not even in a position to even grant those things. So, but the young people put him in office. So when he doesn't deliver, he's going to have another problem. Then he doesn't believe in the police. He doesn't believe in locking people up. He believes it doesn't help. Now you talking about New York, and you got you got all those non-citizens in there now doing all kinds. They've been setting people on fire. All kinds of stuff been going on, and he doesn't even believe. He doesn't support the police, and they need the police in New York for everyday crime before the immigrants. Thank you.
William, what? Man, you're getting reported, dude.
Okay, what is it? Look at his channel.
Yeah. See what he said?
What?
Oh, now he deleted it, little punk. Read that, what he said. Because he said I was going to report him.
Okay, we still got his channel.
Take a picture of his
get your camera. Take a picture. We got you, bud. We got you, buddy. We got you. But you know what? You must not be from America because it's freedom of speech. What we're saying, we're just repeating what's being said on news all over the United States. It's nothing differently. But to say that what you said, that you know what you wish for others is going to come right back at you, you and your family. Because if you can't handle conversation and you can't be an adult, then this is not the channel for you. This is not the channel for you.
They're going to report him now.
Yeah. Because that's going too far. When you can't just react to what we just heard, there was a whole press briefing.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was a whole press briefing that the press secretary just did. A whole press briefing. You have everyone responding to it on all channels. You'll have all news media. You have content creators. We're doing reaction videos. These are not our words. We're repeating and we're trying to find out, what do you think about it? How do you feel about it? Because on this channel, there are Republicans, Democrats, non-voters, and people from around the world. This is not limited just for the United States. We got people probably from Canada on here, Germany, England, Australia.
Now they're saying they don't wish for it. It just happens.
No, well, it just doesn't happen. And guess who's been the ones doing it? It's not us. It's not us. But to let that come, see, Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, you said no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up in judgment thou shalt condemn. And that's our heritage, and our righteousness is in him, said the Lord of hosts. I mean, if you can't handle adult conversations, and this is America, we have what's called freedom of speech. You got adults that they so emotional and so sensitive. These are men. I mean, what happened to men? Be a man. What happened to men? If you're emotional and sensitive about every topic, then you shouldn't be on social media because we're lightweighted. We're not saying anything like the rest. They be cursing and fussing and they be calling people out. They go in. We don't go in. We want people to be able to have a platform that they can engage in conversations and speak in a clear, concise manner. We have Jack is a Democrat. He's not a Republican. And then we got Republican moderators. We want a balance. We want to hear from Americans and where they stand. Because each election season is different. We don't know 2026. in 2028, who's going to be president. If the Republicans right now, they have the presidency, the House, and they have the Senate. They have all branches of government. They even have the Supreme Court. But that might change in the next election cycle, and that's what they're looking for. So we got to be mindful if you can't handle conversation, because if people in the chat offend you, then it might be too much for you. Some people don't need to listen to what's going on. The reason why we show the president, and the reason why what we don't like, we'll pray for him. You got to pray for those in authority over you. Because fussing about it, being angry about it, it doesn't change anything, but prayer does. You have to understand, prayer is the only thing can change a situation. Because guess who's above all of us? God. Guess who we serve? God. Guess who we're beholden to? God.
Most High.
We're not beholden to man. I'm not beholden to, I vote for Republican and Democrat. Depends on I've done both, but I'm not beholden to neither party. I'm beholden to God at the end of the day. I'm not putting my salvation in the hands of man. I'm putting my salvation in the hands of God. So it's great. Thank you so much. Just spinning. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate. Thank you for blessing us, and we do appreciate. But when we're not talking and we're not having conversation, then we're at a disadvantage, because the person sitting next to you at your job, they're not in agreement with you. You might be a Republican, but they're a Democrat, but you still gotta coexist with each other. Your neighbor might have voted Democrat, but you're a Republican. Your congressman might be a Democrat, but if you're a Republican, he's still got to represent you. So we need to talk about these things, because at the end of the day, we want what's best for us. We want what's best for us. The party that's serving us, that's going to do the most for us, that's how we vote. We're trying to vote for the party that's going to support Americans, that's going to provide jobs, have living wage jobs, provide a future for our kids. That's what we want. We Americans, guess what? The Americans want the American dream as well. So the American dream has been sourced out to the world, 37 trillion of our dollars, but it's not given to us. We want the American dream as well. And Americans have been put on on a burner when it comes to us. Everyone else has been first. And that's why you see people saying America first or about Americans, because Americans are taking a back seat to everyone else. So we have to be about what's best for our futures, our families. And that comes from communicating. Just because somebody don't agree with you, that doesn't mean you got to be angry at them. Who agrees with you about everything?
What parasite zappers? What do you mean by that?
What?
No, they said too many people use God the Most High as a cop-out, and they are hypocrites.
Well, you know what? Nobody has to explain their relationship with God to anyone. And that's who I can speak for. As far as me and my house, we serve the Lord. So we can speak for ourselves. There's no cop-out when you got God. He woke us up today. You wouldn't even be breathing right now if it wasn't for God. You were blessed to see today, and that's because of God. Man didn't give you life. He didn't give you breath. And if you're healthy, thank God for that. If you're not healthy, there's a prayer for that. He was wounded for your transgressions, bruised for your iniquities. The chastisement of your peace was upon him. With your stripes, you were healed. So whatever ailment you had, whatever you're dealing with that the doctor can't handle, God is the greatest physician. I'd rather call on God than anybody. When I have a situation, I don't run to the phone and let people know my business. So all they're gonna do is gossip about you. Your best friend, your co-worker, you go to God. He never sleeps nor slumber. So that's who I rely on. I can't do, not by might nor by power, but by his spirit. I can do nothing without God. Nothing. I can't take credit for anything. I can't do anything without the mercy of God, the grace of God. That's it. That's it. So I'd rather be on God's team than anybody's team, regardless of parties. In the future, it might not be Republican and Democrat. It might be a whole nother party. Life continues to evolve. But in the meanwhile, we have a president that's sitting in the White House. And I feel it's important to hear what he has to say, regardless who you voted for. If you like what he's doing, yay. If you don't, then pray for him. Voice your opinion. That's being American. Voice, that's what it's all about.
The only king we have.
That's a
is-
privilege
the-
that's given to us through our
the
Constitution.
only-
It's a great thing.
The only king
First
we have,
Amendment.
The only king we have is Jesus Christ, the Son of God.
Yeah, Jesus is the king.
That's the only
King of
king we
kings,
have.
lords of lords. So there's too many people that's so ungrateful. They so man-minded that they can't. Some people need to just, we don't try to very, sometimes people just need to hear the truth.
Oh, they can still watch. They just
Okay,
can't comment.
okay. Because people need to hear
Like I
the
was saying,
truth.
we think Trump's our king.
The only way people, but if it's not true, then it doesn't bother us. If it's a false accusation, then I don't give it energy. You know who you are. See, God looks at your heart. You can lie to me, and I can stand here and say, "Oh, I just love this, love that." But God knows your heart, your thoughts. There's nothing hidden for God. When you think you're in a room by yourself and nobody see what you're doing, God is there. He's right there. When you telling that lie, God is there. When you got hatred in your heart, God is there. He knows all of that. He knows all about you. There's nothing hidden from our Lord and Savior. Nothing. So I don't have the energy or time, and life is too short to pretend to people. I made up in my mind when I was a young girl that I would not pretend to be what I am not, because life is too short to try to appease people, to try to be what people think you should be, or care what people think about you. I mean, to being delivered from people is the best blessing you can have in the world, when you don't put people on a freaking mountaintop.
On a pedestal.
On their, not even just a pedestal, put them on like they a mountaintop.
Yeah.
God is the only one that I'm gonna put on a mountaintop, because there's none greater than him. So we gotta like pull back. Thank God that we live in the United States of America, where we have the First Amendment rights. We have freedom of speech, because when people aren't talking and people aren't communicating and people hold things up, that's when things jump off. That's when things are you have so much infighting, and I think we want the same things. Democrats and Republicans want a better America. I believe that. But we're fighting. We're so busy fighting against each other that it hasn't manifested, because we spend a whole lot of time trying to win talking points and try to win infighting battles, while our country needs help and our country needs to lower this $37 trillion debt. Our country needs to work together for, if you have children, for your children's children.
And it's crazy watching all these adults get so emotional.
The
It's
adults
like
get
threatening
emotional.
us.
The adults, well, he was saying, well, but that was out of place. It was out of pocket. It was uncalled for. And there's thousands of channels, content created channels, but this is Speak the Truth 2.0. We're not on here to lie to you, pretend. And that should be refreshing to you. Why would you want to listen to people who just trying to gain something from you? You know, that they think, like a lot of people, how many super chats did we get? We didn't get super chats. This is our time and energy being given to you. And this is a platform. How many times you go on the channel, they actually even read your comments without you super chatting them. And then the people inside the chat, y'all are talking to each other. Y'all chatting it up. So y'all are being heard. Everybody wants to be heard. And that's an amazing thing. You know, you guys get those likes up. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And even when y'all come down, we love having conversations. See, when the chat goes down, it goes down. Then we can't see all the comments. So when you comment once we end the live, then we do respond to our comments. So if you want to engage with conversations and give us ideas, what you would like to see us do on the channel, where are the improvements you would like? What are some of the topics that you want us to talk about? We want to hear from you. Give us some of your ideas of what you would like to see. We are growing the channel. The channel is it's been around a year. The channel's been around a year. We have over 35,000 subscribers, but we made a mistake because we knew at it. We forgot to tell people to hit the notification bell so when we come on, you know when we're on. But if you want honesty, and we want to start pulling, but we got to learn still. We're still learning, but we want people on our channel that we can bring on and have these conversations. And maybe that'll get people, not just everyone in agreement with us. We want dialogue. We want people on that's not emotional, that's not sensitive, that can speak in a clear, concise manner and don't get into their feelings and all of that. And it's not about who's winning the conversation. It's about being heard and expressing yourself. So that's the future. But leave in the comments, and I'll read like some of your suggestions of what's some of the things you want us to talk about. You give us like some of the things you'd like to see us do on the channel. Like we could have like, say, Elijah's Corner, like all the young people, whatever. All the young people up to like say 30 years old or whatever, 35, he's going to have conversation, talk about all politics. Because this is like a political channel, and we're highlighting the president of the United States of America. The United States of America. If you're American, he's still your freaking president. Whether you like him or not, voted for him or not, he's still your president. So you should have something to say about it. Do you agree with him? You don't agree with him? What would you like to see him do differently? What has he done that you are approve of? And then what has he done that you disapprove of? Or how do you see the direction that this country is moving in? Are we moving in the right direction? Is it America first? These are legitimate questions that we can leave in the comments, and we can move the show further and talk about what you want to hear about, because we're going to put them up. We're going to show them, because we have one president at a time, one administration at a time, and this is what we have. And I never paid attention, and that's my fault. But how are you going to know what's going on if you don't listen? So everything we say, we're reacting, we're responding, and we're hearing from you what you have to say about our current situation and what's going on inside the country. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we should do. Yes, you are wonderful, Cindy. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. How about our military and mental health? Yeah, our military, I know they're kind of confusing. These are things that we can talk about. And see, that's somebody emotional right there. We be having so many emotional people, and it's bad if you have children. And I expect if you're an adult, act like an adult. God said when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became an adult, you're supposed to put away those childish things. So you can get away with being childish when you're a child, but when you become an adult, you're supposed to put away childish things. If anything, you're supposed to be leading your family. How are you going to lead your family when you can't even lead yourself? So we got to do better. We got to communicate better, and we got to be able to um, handle situations, not being, all in our feelings. It's like it's too many people be in their feelings, and that's not working, especially when you feel like you gotta call names, you gotta, to me, that's just being a coward. Cowardice when you're someone that you can't speak about what you have a problem with, but your way of communicating is attacking the people that you see. People do this, what they call finger warriors or whatever. Internet warriors, they like finger warriors. Online, they big and bad, but in person, they don't have these conversations with their coworkers or with their boss, or with their families, with people right there. They don't have these conversations, but they get online, and this is when they spew their hate, and that's sad. And if you have children, you're not trying to poison your children because you want them to be productive. And you don't want them to have those same attitudes, because you can't change anything if you're upset. I'm an advocate. I'm an activist. That's what I've always done. I'm a speaker. I'm a communicator. You know, I've communicated with hundreds of thousands of people that I've represented, and you know, in my positions, you know, as political director, legislative director. So it's like, you know, you have to. So I talk to everyone, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, that's in public office. You have to talk to both. Some, I agree with some things that each party has to say at different times, depending on what it is, because I'm listening to them, and something I wasn't doing in the past. But if you're going to be an avid voter or informed voter, you have to listen to what people are saying before you cast your votes. And that's what it's all about. Well, anyway, you guys, I want to thank my moderators. You guys have been swell. Yeah, we got to keep it respectful. If you're upset, just take a deep breath. Musa, just Musa, take a deep breath and just get your thoughts together and just express yourself, because the people and the moderators in there, they will answer you. The people in the chat, you got a problem, we got Jack, we got different people on both sides. They'll take care of it. They'll answer you. You know, they will respond to you. We got Indoor, we got Brianna, we got all types, all people that's in here. So they will, people in the chat, they will respond to everything you have to say. But we got to keep it respectful, and just, you know, just keep your point, keep it respectful. Because getting upset and getting angry and trying just to spew out hate or false accusations is not making a case for you, and it's not a good look. It really isn't. It's not a good look. So everything like you say about someone, like, it's like right back at you. But the news and everything we show, that we do show, is everywhere. We didn't create the news. We didn't make the news. We're reacting to what's going on in this political climate. Like many others, like thousands others, we're reacting to it. And it's a blessing to live in the United States of America. If anything, you got to look at it's a blessing, because freedom of speech is a big deal. Everybody is not blessed with freedom of speech, and we take it for granted. If you can't make a point without insulting someone, you get put on, you get put on timeout. That's right, timeout. You got to get put on timeout, because it should be unnecessary. And you know, the funny thing about it, you see some adults, these are older adults. These are mature people that should, at this point in their life, should know how to handle and manage themselves. How are you going to manage other people when you can't manage yourself? You know, you should be at a point that you have more self-discipline, more self-control. And the best way to be heard is to be able to articulate, to be able to say what are you mad about? It's like, why are you so miserable? Like, what is it? If the news make you that miserable, then you probably shouldn't watch it. If you can't hear what's going on, everything that even Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said and the way she said it, just because we're showing, I don't mean we're in agreement with the way that she said it or whatever, but but you want to hear what everyone has to say. You don't have to be in agreement, and then we might like a lot of stuff she said. You might be in agreement. So it's like both. It's for everyone. It's not just one thing about it. People have to understand, when they come on President Trump, he's the president of this country, whether you voted for him or not. As an American, you should want to hear what your president has to say. Even if you disagree, how are you going to disagree if you didn't hear him for yourself? So we got to do better. You got to hear him. And then you could go on all the channels and everything, you know, ground news. I love ground news, but I invested in that. So they deal with the left and the right. They show you both sides, where both sides stands at and what both sides believe in. So you could get, you know, both perspective. And that's how I'm kind of doing this channel. I want to hear both perspectives. of so that we can all come together and we can have a better government and our president can do what the American people really need him to do for us to have a better future. And we have to let him know by thank you so much by listening to him. You gotta listen. Like I don't want like finding out later on, like I'm at say at the job and somebody say, "Oh, did you know what this?" and they get it all wrong. But you got to hear what was said in real time, live TV, real time, what was being said, so you can have your own judgment, not from somebody else, not from a co-worker, not from the neighbor down the street. You know, you need to hear for yourself because when people try to tell you what was said, then they screw it all up. They change the language. They do all of that. So it's called being informed. You want to stay informed and you want to stay on top of things and you don't want to be blindsided that you didn't see stuff coming because you were not paying attention, because you were not staying informed. You guys don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We have like 200 and 100 and some people on. Can we get this up to 100 so this could go out to the algorithm, because this show is important. You know, I know we don't have all the frills and all of that, and it is unscripted because I like being authentic. Someone say, "Oh, you need to script." Maybe I was thinking about doing a script. I can do a script. I can write a script. I can have a script, but I don't want to be reading a script because I'm not going to memorize all of it. And I don't know. I think it takes away from being real. You know, to me, when everything is scripted, it's more robotic, and it's like, you know, it's not being real. And I don't want to come off. Speak the truth. It's not about being fake. Speak the truth. It's about what you see is what you get. We're not trying to, be fake. And I think a lot of people come off extremely fake when they got the scripts and they just try to reel you in because they get all the super chats and they get all the subscribers. They do all that. I want a large audience to go out so people have a platform that, like, I guess that's what we do as a legislative director. You can hear what's going on and we can advocate for what's right. And I'm about what's right regardless of parties. I'm about what's right. But we only have one president at a time, and his name is President Trump. That's the current president. He's the current president, and you need to stay informed. And I totally know that the Republicans should be supporting, because that's who was voted into office.
Caesar, maybe it's because it's not you, but that topic of the chat being more civil needed to be discussed. You're saying like we've been talking about it for 20 minutes, you get it, but that really needs to be talked about with the comments we've been receiving.
Listening to me about the what? Yeah, let's see what they have to say. Let's read some of the comments. Elijah, read this. Yeah, we want to hear from you. We'll read a couple of y'all comments before we get off the live. So if you want us to read a comment, let us know.
You want to read that one?
Is it all right to read?
Man, they said a hate comment earlier. That's why I didn't know if I should read it.
Go ahead, read it. Go ahead, read it. We'll read it. You ain't even have the super chats. Go ahead, read it.
My lady, I agree with you about freedom of speech, but our current administration is trying to silence anyone who disagrees with them.
Well, you know what? They silenced you?
Yeah.
What is it? 385 million Americans out. They can't. If you feel that way, they can't silence everyone. You know how many social media platforms that's out here? They can't silence you like that. And you have a constitutional right. to be heard.
And out of everything the media has said against Trump, it's just so funny to see that comment. Like, they have done the most talking against him. Like,
Let's see.
every news station does, besides like Fox News. I don't know what they talking about.
He said, I agree with you. Read another one. Find another comment to read. What is it? We're going to be trying to pick out some before we get off to read some of your comments. You didn't like that one?
I don't know what they're talking about. That's why I didn't read it.
Okay, let's see if we got some new ones.
Jimmy Kimmel's still on the air.
What? Well, I guess they're saying if you probably go up, they probably talking about how Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's back on there. He's still in the air. He's back on the air. They're saying slow mo is not insult. It's a function of streamers. You remember getting mad at me for saying that? I do not remember us getting mad at you for saying that.
We didn't put nobody out. I didn't even. Well, I can't even see the comments, so nobody put on slow mo. What is that supposed to mean? Was the last administration that was silencing people that disagree with their insane ideologies. They kicked Jimmy Kimmel off. Read one more before we get off, because I'm gonna go get something. Read one. Was Jack still on? At Jack? Okay, Jack. He was let go by AOC, not the federal government. Thank you. Look at that.
Karoline, you obviously a hater, right? You say
The left.
Karoline.
What's it?
You ever see that comment?
Yeah. Thank you. Wow.
What they
It's a
said.
gift. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, guys. I want to acknowledge the gifts. I don't see what you're looking at.
They hating on our painting.
Our painting? You gonna critique the painting? Okay, fine. Don't worry. If you super chats, if you want to pay for a new painting for us, we will change the painting, okay? Because that costs a lot of money right there.
We don't remember you. We don't remember falsely accusing you.
Oh, falsely accused? No. Well, they might have been on one. No, kids don't need to be arrested. But falsely accused them saying that kids needed to be arrested. What's this say? Y'all did this with me about a week ago. Slow mo. I don't even know how to slow it down. The YouTube must have did that. Oh, thank you. They brought us a cup of coffee. Thank you. That is so cute. We're getting a lot of these.
Okay, guys. Thanks for watching.
Look at that. That's the most we have. Are you kidding me? You must be hungry.
Yeah.
He's hungry. Now, you guys, like I said, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. Leave us a comment, like, what do you want us to discuss on the show? Moderators, y'all have any ideas? Or think about coming on our show and do a live with us. Like, we're looking forward to doing that with our moderators and just some subscribers. I want to have a contest, like people subscribe and that we would bring them on the show. So, you know, you're not just subscribing, you'll be able to come on a platform with a wide audience, because we were getting like 2 to 3 million people a month watching our streams. So we've had over 16 million viewers on this channel. So when people say you did this and that, like we've had thousands of people in the chat, and it's hard to read everything like that. We can't, you know. So just let us know what you would like for us to do in the future. And I was thinking about, even because the goal in life is to reach. You always have something that you want to reach for. And as far as this channel, okay, the goal is 100,000 subscribers. How do we get to 100,000 subscribers? It's through you guys. It's through your participation and through your likes. So the algorithm is through you guys subscribing to this channel And so we look forward to spending more time with you, growing together, because this is us now. But say a year from now, we're going to have growth. We're going to be more professional, but we want to remain authentic. So I wanted we'll be, more to the liking, maybe have a more studio look or whatever, but that's to be discussed, because if that's where we're heading towards, then that's something that we're going to consider doing. But we want to hear from you. We want your ideas. We want y'all to get these likes up, so that we can continue to grow as a channel. And I was thinking about having a contest, like even I was saying, like before the end of the year, like have monetary that we would get to be, especially like after Christmas and stuff like that, when people like they already went shopping and spent their money, we're blessed to be a blessing, and be a blessing to some of our subscribers with a monetary gift. But you have to subscribe so that we will, pull out names randomly. It's not going to be like, oh, this person, that person. It will be done randomly, and fairly, that we would pick some subscribers to receive a gift. And so that's another goal that we have, that I want my son to set up for me, that we could do something going out the new year to bless you guys. And, because y'all have been wonderful, and we want y'all to continue to return. We see we got all these people on. Can we get at least 100 likes? A like doesn't cost you anything at all. And I think this channel is worthy of people coming back and people sharing with us. But I can't wait until we start bringing some of you on here, and we can see what you look like. We can talk to you. You can, long as you level-minded, level-headed, we want to hear from you, and we want you to participate, and we want the show to grow in those areas. So we have people that's really astute with politics, people have experience or no experience, just everyday Americans like us, the people who care about what's going on in this country. We want you to be a part of this show. So when you do hit the likes, turn on thank you so much. Turn on the notifications. We thank all the blessings that's coming to us. We really do appreciate. We thank all the love that you guys are showing us. It's not going unnoticed. Thank you. But we want it, to continue to move forward. So you don't want to stay the same. We want to continue to grow, that we keep giving you something better each time you come on. And anyway, you guys, I'm going to jump off. Thank you for joining us. We've been on here a minute. Please, please, please leave us comments with some of your ideas after the chat ends, so that we can read them and we can respond to them. That's the only way that we will see them. And like I said, I want to have something for the end of the year to be a blessing to our faithful people that's been coming on here, to be a blessing to them. You can't outdo God in giving. So we want to do something for you guys. So anyway, give us some more ideas, and we appreciate you taking your time. We will be on here tomorrow because Trump, he called Madani, well, not Trump, but his press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, called Madani a communist. I was like, whoa, did y'all hear that? I was like, wow. Not someone, the mayor, the elected mayor of New York coming to visit, but that's going to be interesting. And I don't think Trump, if he has a disdain for people, you see how he talked to some reporters, if he has a disdain for you, he is going to let you know. So I don't think that Madani is going to have all this welcoming like Trump would do with, say, someone else that he likes. So it's going to be interesting to see Trump reaction to Madani. I don't believe he's ever met him before. So I can't wait for that meeting, and hopefully it be cordial, but it might be, I don't think Madani, he seems like he's a calm guy and he smiles all the time. So I think whatever, he knows Trump is going to attack him. So he probably thinks that. So I think Madani's going to be prepared for it.
See how he was talking to
Oh, Madani. Yeah, I think he knows. I think after he watched his, he saw his, if he didn't watch it, his people watching, they told him how they referred to him. So it's going to be interesting to see his reaction and how they get along. But, hopefully New York will, remain one of the greatest cities in the world. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Please, you guys, get those likes up, share, put the notification on. You want to say something before we get off? Thank you to our moderators. Thank you, Jack. And thank you for those who came on. God bless you guys. And when it bounced, like, I don't know why it doesn't feed up. New York City is truth. They said, yes, Trump don't like him and he will act to the fool towards that man. Yeah, Trump, he doesn't like him. I mean, that's no secret. Y'all, if y'all been watching, Trump doesn't like him. That's not a secret. So anyway, join us tomorrow and we'll talk to you guys then. Peace out. Thank you, moderators. Continue to comment, subscribe, share this video, and help us grow. Thanks, guys. Hit those likes.
God bless.
God bless.